Volk once again beats Diego Lopes, and it seems every time Volk gets a win, the same topic often repeats. Is he now the featherweight GOAT instead of Jose Aldo? I thought the answer was obvious, but then I considered it, and I'm actually unsure. So I thought I'd lay out all the stats and actually finally get to who truly is the featherweight GOAT, baby. Now, we're only going to be going over their featherweight fights, as this is for the title of featherweight GOAT. So no, but Jose had a decent streak at bantamweight. No, but Volk almost beat Islam in my comments, okay? This is purely featherweight. Now, Volk has only had 15 fights at featherweight. No, his debut doesn't count, as that was actually a lightweight fight. And for Jose Aldo, I'm not going to mention his WEC fights. I know they're basically UFC bouts, but I'll mention them later. For now, we'll stick only to his UFC featherweight fights, which he's had 14 of. We're going to go over every single one of their featherweight fights to find out who has the better featherweight record and resume. Jose Aldo's first UFC bout was against Hominick. Mark was about 28 years old with a record of 20-8. By the way, this guy's nickname was The Machine. Jose's fought 2 people called that. I don't know why it's funny. Anyway, this fight ended in a unanimous win for Aldo. He destroyed bro for 4 rounds. Picked him apart, basically. Gave him probably one of the worst hematomas I've ever seen. Like, dear God, bro. Give bro some ice right now. The 5th round, Jose Aldo kind of got beat up with some ground and pound, but that's really the only success bro had. And yeah, Aldo got the win. Volk's first featherweight bout was against Mizuto Hirota, 36-year-old Japanese fella with a record of 18-7-2. He was actually on a 5-fight winning streak, had a draw in his debut, won his next fight, and then he fought Volk, which bad luck for old mate. Only 2 of those wins by finish though. I mean, this fight was also just domination through 3. Hirota landed some strikes, but nothing that stunned Volk. Volk's wrestling was just too much and he ragdolled Hirota. Check out this nasty spinning elbow from Volk, by the way. You don't see him throw those often, eh? But Volk won pretty easily with a unanimous win. Aldo definitely beat the better opponent, but it's kind of tough to decide who was more dominant. First 3 rounds they both were, but Volk wasn't in a 5-rounder and Jose was. I'd give this to Aldo despite how much trouble he had in the 5th. Aldo's second UFC fight was against Florian. Older guy at 35, had a record of 14-5. He was only on a 1-fight win streak, which at that point isn't even a streak now, think about it. Kenny is actually kind of a funny foreshadowing with his physical stats. I mean, tell me if this sounds familiar. 74-inch reach, essentially 5'10", and a southpaw. Sound familiar? Anyway, this was another unanimous win for Aldo. Kenny actually did pretty well early on, landed a lot of kicks, jumping into straights, but he kept shooting takedowns, kind of gassed himself out. Jose defended every single one. And yeah, Jose found his range, pieced bro up, and he got the win. Volk's second UFC featherweight fight was against a Kiwi named Shane Young. 24 years old with a record of 11-3. At the time, he was on a 5-fight winning streak with 3 finishes. Fight was once again domination for 3 rounds. Volk using his wrestling to just ragdoll Shane, winning via unanimous decision. By the way, check this out. Dan Hooker and Eugene were on Volk's opponent's corner. How weird is that with 2026 hindsight, eh? Pretty similar level wins for both, but I'm just going to give it a Volk this time just because he was a lot more dominant. And Shane Young was on a pretty decent streak at the time. Aldo's third UFC fight was against a 26-year-old Chad Mendes, still really young. He was 11-0, undefeated, and yeah, he got knocked out inside 1 round. Fight was just pretty much pure domination. Chad failed every takedown, got his leg chopped up. I mean, Aldo was looking like a fucking lumberjack out there, chopping that leg. I mean, when Chad finally got Aldo up against the cage, Aldo broke away and in a split second turned around, landed a beautiful knee to his dome, knocking him out cold. Beautiful performance from Aldo. Volk's third fight also ended in a knockout when he took on Jeremy Kennedy, who just like Chad Mendes was 11-0. Wow, lots of similarities. The Canadian was 25, pretty tall for the division at 5'11", but yeah, Volk pretty much just took him down, hit him with heavy ground and pound for an entire round. Hey, that kind of rhymed. Took him down, hit him with heavy ground and pound for an entire round. Second round was the exact same, with even more brutal ground and pound, and he ended up getting the TKO. Conclusion, I mean, I'd give it to Aldo. He did it faster, more brutally, and against a better opponent. Jose's 4th UFC fight was his first fight against a 31-year-old Frankie Edgar, who was 15-3-1, but on a 2-fight losing streak at a time at lightweight. I don't know how he got a title shot at featherweight, to be honest, but yeah, Aldo got it done by unanimous decision. Aldo basically just picked Frankie apart, brutal leg kicks, stiff jabs, and he just looked overall a lot faster. But yeah, it's still a great fight. Volk's 4th UFC featherweight fight was against Darren Elkins, who was on a actually pretty decent streak, 6-fight win streak. He had a record of 24-5 at the time. He's a little older though, at 34. But Volk got it done by unanimous decision. Volk dropped and almost finished Elkins in the first, but he survived. Rest of the rounds was just like Volk, landing big shots, holding Elkins against the cage. I mean, Elkins got bloodied up, man. Volk won pretty unanimously. Listen, I know it's Frankie Edgar, but he was on a 2-fight losing streak. He had 0 momentum. I'm just saying the better win is Darren Elkins. Not to mention, Volk got a lot closer to finishing him, and it was a lot more dominant. Aldo's 5th UFC fight was against the Korean Zombie, who at the time was 13-3 and was only 26 years old, so this was ages ago. But yeah, Zombie had an okay first round. Once Aldo made them reads, he quickly took over, picked Zombie apart until he got a 4th round TKO. Similar to Volk many years later. Zombie dislocated his shoulder or something in this fight, and I love how Aldo sees it and he immediately starts kicking the shit out of it. Just 0 mercy. I love that. Volk's 5th fight was against a 33-year-old Chad Mendes, who at this point in his career had a record of 18-4. He was on a 2-fight winning streak. This was a pretty competitive fight. Chad even managed to drop Volk with a flash knockdown. But yeah, Volk quickly picked up the pace, returned the favor by sleeping Chad in the second. I mean, I'm gonna give it to Volk. Chad Mendes is just a way better win than the Korean Zombie. And not to mention, he got it faster. He got it done faster. 2nd round TKO. Aldo's 6th UFC fight is up against 31-year-old Ricardo Lamas, who had a record of 13-2. Ricardo had a little success early on, landing some good leg kicks, some good body kicks, but once again, Aldo begins to take over with his own leg kicks and some great combination of hooks to the body and right through the guard. He ends up winning by unanimous decision. Volk's 6th UFC featherweight bout was against no other than Jose Aldo himself. Granted, when he was past his prime, but still skilled and dangerous. I mean, he was only 32. First round, nothing too much happened. They both kind of feeling each other out. Aldo cooled his balls down in the corner.
My balls was hot.
They felt each other out. Second fight round started the same. Volk kind of eye poked him on accident, I'm pretty sure, I hope. Then took over by clinching Aldo up. Prime Marab style, held Aldo up against the cage, just bullying him for the rest of the fight. He got the decision. I mean, come on, Volk's win over Aldo is way better than fucking some dude called Ricardo. Aldo once again took on Chad Mendes, who had risen to 16-1 since his defeat. So he's been putting in the work, baby. Chad did way better this fight, but he's still pretty much outclassed the whole time. Jose's takedown defense is just elite. Volk's 7th UFC fight was against Max Holloway. Now this was a competitive fight, but Volk picked Max apart, outstruck him. He was landing leg kicks all night. He was doing some good blitzes. Max had some success, but he couldn't really get anything going. He just kind of fell behind. And yeah, Volk won by unanimous decision. I mean, both great wins, but I mean, this was Max Holloway in his fucking prime. Volk had the better win by far. Jose Aldo's 8th fight ended in 13 seconds. Perhaps one of the most historical knockouts in UFC history, when Jose Aldo took on a young prime Conor McGregor, and for the first time in over a decade, lost. Volk's 8th fight was his infamous rematch against Max Holloway. This fight was far more competitive, with many believing Volk robbed Max of a win. Volk was dropped multiple times. Both fighters being neck and neck on the feet. Me personally, I think Volk won, but I can see Max winning as well. I understand if you think it's a robbery. Both rough fights, but I mean, come on. Aldo got slept in 13 seconds. Volk, yeah, he had a controversial decision and ruined his reputation at the time, but he won. Frankie Edgar once again, except this time he had gone on an impressive 5-fight win streak at 145, with wins over, get this, Charles Oliveira, BJ Penn, Cub Swanson, Uriah Faber, and Chad Mendes. What an insane fucking streak. Aldo did what he always does, started kind of slow, made his reads, and then just outstruck Frankie. Got the unanimous decision win. Yeah, Good return for him after getting slept in 13 seconds, to be honest. Volk's ninth fight was against Brian Ortega, who at the time was 15-1. His one defeat being against Max Holloway. But yeah, everyone knows this fight, man. Volk practically beats Ortega up until he gets caught in two really, really close submissions. Volk don't tap, baby. He gets out, destroys Ortega via ground and pound. I'm surprised the ref didn't stop it, to be honest. Now, this is a little hard because Volk's performance was really great. But, I mean, Frankie was on a crazy streak, dude. Ortega was only 1-1 heading into the Volk fight. I'm going to give it to Aldo. Their 10th fights, I'm just going to go over real quick. Aldo lost to Max Holloway. Volk beat up Old Zombie. Yeah, Volk gets the point. Same fucking story. Aldo lost to Max Holloway again, while Volk had the best performance in his career by dominating Max Holloway and making it look easy. This isn't close. Volk gets the point. Aldo gets back into the win column against 24-14 Jeremy Stephens, who was on a 3-fight win streak with a crazy KO over Josh Emmett. Something even Ilia Topuria couldn't even do. I mean, he's the hardest hitting 145 pounder, the real hardest hitting 145 pounder. When he puts people to sleep, they don't fucking move. But yeah, this fight was over in a round. Aldo hit a nasty body shot, finishing with the ground and pound. Volk's 12th fight was against 19-3 Yair Rodriguez. I mean, just a dominant win. Volk made it easy and finished Yair in the 3rd round. I mean, he was cooking up some tacos in there. Is that racist? I apologize if that is. I retract that sentence. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, a win over Jeremy Stephens isn't that impressive. Yair at the time had also just finished Emmett, and he had beaten Jeremy himself. I'm gonna give it a Volk. Next up, we'll keep it short, no pun intended. But yeah, it's pretty obvious. If you know, you know. Aldo slept Moicano, while poor Volk got colded by Ilia. Very different level of comp, sure, but I can't give Volk a point for losing. Aldo's got it. Once again, we'll keep it short. Volk gets 2 wins over Diego Lopes in his next 2 featherweight bouts, while Aldo sadly is defeated by Volkanovski himself. That's 2 points for Volk. And with that, Volk has dominated Aldo, his competition clearly being superior to Aldo's. I mean, let's just compare the resume real quick. Aldo has a featherweight UFC record of 10-4 with wins over Chad Mendes twice, Frankie Edgar twice, Korean Zombie, Jeremy Stephens, Moicano, Hominick, Florian, and Ricardo Lamas. Meanwhile, Volk has a featherweight UFC record of 14-1 with wins over Max Holloway 3 times, Diego Lopes 2 times, Chad Mendes, Korean Zombie, Brian Ortega, Jose Aldo himself, Yair Rodriguez, Mizuto, Hirota, Shane Young, Jeremy Kennedy, Darren Elkins. I mean, Volk's resume and record just completely clears Aldo's. I mean, that alone, it's really clear Volk is the featherweight GOAT, unless you count the WEC. Which, if we include his WEC career, his record goes from 10-4 to 18-4 and adds Uriah Faber, Cub Swanson, and Mike Brown to his resume. I mean, if we're just talking UFC career alone, Volk clears no doubt, but I believe he still does even with Aldo's WEC run. Volk's resume is just so much better. I mean, you guys just saw with the comparisons we did. Not to mention, Volk is fighting a new generation of fighters in 2026. He's fought old and new. He's only lost once at featherweight. And although Ilia did win fair and square, I'll just point out, Volk did take that fight 3 months after just being head kicked at lightweight. So who knows how that compromised him. While Aldo has lost to Conor McGregor, Max Holloway 2 times, who Volk beat 3 times, and then he lost to Volk himself. I think all of that together leaves Alexander Volkanovski as the featherweight GOAT, even when you want to add Aldo's WEC record to the equation. Our featherweight GOAT is Alexander Volkanovski, baby. If you enjoyed that, please drop a like, please subscribe, and yeah, be sure to go in the comments, let me know if you disagree or agree. I'll be happy to have a discussion with you, and yeah, I think Volk is the GOAT. How about that? No bias at all. I mean, what, you say something about an accent? I don't have an accent, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, but Volk's the GOAT, baby.